Yeah, awesome. Sam's a Palace fan. He's going to give us a bit of a rundown of the fixture that just went down. Obviously, we got Miles here, Gunner, and we got Travis, who's another Gunner. So it'll be interesting to see what was said. It was a difficult game, man. I think Arsenal had to kind of wake up. Like the players were a bit like from the moment the kickoff started, it was just like bam, right, you're in a game now. You're in like a battle. It's not going to be an easy game. So, Sam, what do you think? How do you think it went down? Like,
Well, it's frustrating as a Palace fan. I mean, I've sat there and I've watched a refereeing display that I think was okay overall until you look at the decisions he's made. Coughlin should not have been on that pitch, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not. Like, to me, I'm not saying this is a Palace bias. I was surprised, and I don't like to moan about referees. Games are won not by decisions. The vast majority of games are won by action on the pitch, but that would have changed the game. Arsenal, the thing that shocked me, we were poor to start with, but I was amazed to see how both teams didn't seem to defend with any sort of conviction. I thought Palace kept trying to walk the ball out of defence when it should have just had a foot on it and sent long. And Arsenal did something similar, and I think the goals could have been avoided in a lot of circumstances. We didn't seem to be coming out the traps nearly quick enough. I was surprised. I thought we're at home, first game of the season. We've not had a good home record under Pardew or previous managers in the Premier League. We need to pick up points at home. Didn't seem to happen for me. There were some bright spots. Jason Punchin had a great game. He always does. I think Cabaye went missing. I really like Cabaye, and I'm not going to get on his back after one game. But when you splash out that kind of cash, you've got to be impressing me. But yeah, interesting.
Miles, what do you reckon about the Coquelin decisions? Do you reckon that was fair from the referee?
Well, I've analysed the game, went through a few points, and that's obviously a key point of the first half. I personally think he should have gone. He was very lucky to get away with the second one. I think if he wasn't on a yellow, the ref definitely would have given him a yellow for the second offence. And yeah, he was lucky to be on the pitch, if I'm honest. I think it came at a right time in a way for Arsenal, because I believe if it had perhaps happened earlier on, he probably would have went off at half time. Wenger kind of held his own there and brought him off on the predictable 60th minute mark, as he always does.
Yeah, Chavez, what do you think about Ozil playing that quarterback position today?
I thought Ozil was very good today. Different player to the one we saw last week. I thought Santi Cazorla was great today. Them two, that was the difference, I thought. If that was the same Arsenal team that came out last week, we could have found ourselves in problems. But going back to what Sam said, I didn't think Palace came out up for it. I was quite surprised at the way they came out at the start. I think Arsenal eased into it straight away, and we don't normally ease into games straight away. Normally it takes us a while, but Palace didn't really put up a fight straight away. Which
I think Palace looked like they were
from the start.
To be honest, but to me,
I always think with Palace, we play better when we're chasing or behind, and it's this weird mentality. Maybe it's because of the atmosphere of the fans. We don't seem to start quick enough, which worries me as someone that watches as a fan, because I want to see us get out the blocks quickly. I don't want to see us have to constantly come from behind at home and save games. I want us to be dominating and winning games. And against an Arsenal team, that's always going to be difficult. I know they lost last week. I think early start of the season, you can't take any games you see now. You know, you've got Man United sat there on 6 points, and they're not going to be top of the league come the end of the season. I still think Arsenal will win the league as a neutral. I still think they've got the quality. Although what I would say about Ozil today, great game, what's he going to do if he comes up against a more physical midfielder? Palace today didn't have Jedinak playing. He's not featured as much. Someone like him, I think, could have absolutely put the stop on him. I don't know. I'd love to get your guys' views as Arsenal fans on what you think about that.
Would Jedinak have stopped Ozil? I don't know. Ozil looked like he was in one of them moods today. I thought he was very, very good. But obviously, like you said, Sam, Palace gave him quite a bit of space. But what you got to remember, when Ozil's not there, if Ozil's not having a good game, sometimes Cazorla will step up, and it didn't help Palace that they both had very good games today, I thought. But
I think they showed Ozil too much respect today.
Definitely.
They gave him a lot of time on the ball.
But again, going back to what Sam said, I think I think Pardew was brave and adventurous, putting the three attacking players in the middle. It would have been a safe option to possibly have put Jedinak in there.
I agree. Ozil showed too much space there in the midfield. I think he's a player that if you crowd out and put it on him early, he doesn't want to know. That's how I think he pretty much is. There was a game last season which summed him up. It was Chelsea away, when Azarueta, hard to pronounce there, pretty much put, I think, one or two solid tackles on him, fair tackles as well to an extent, and he didn't want to know.
And Ozil's attack, his wide play is not that great, but he kept seeming to get in to the left and get these crosses in, and I was getting shocked every time, because if you clamp Ozil, mark him out of the game, just get physical with him. Like you said earlier, he doesn't want to know. I was quite surprised that they gave him that much space and freedom to create so many chances. And in the first half, I think Ozil created more chances than the whole Crystal Palace team in the first half of the game, which was crazy stat. I don't know about I haven't seen the stats for the whole game, but I know that at half time I saw that. It was a bit mad. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think Arsenal realised that they were in the game from kick-off. I saw the urgency on both teams. So I'm quite surprised, Sam, that you said that it didn't seem like Crystal Palace wanted it. It seemed to me like they were up for it, to be honest.
I think with Palace, I do worry about this. I think Pardew's got a point to prove at home, wanting to have these attacking players on the pitch. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive fan of Zaha. Great, he's come back to the club. I'm a big fan of Balassi. Whether he stays, whether he goes, is going to be a bit unsure.
I noticed Monreal and Bellerin seemed to deal with Balassi and Zaha pretty well. I thought there'd be a bit more of a battle, but I thought they were quite comfortable with the two of them. And them two, I look at them two and I see Palace, and them two were the threat to me, and I thought the Spaniards handled it quite well.
I must say I was worried in the first few minutes when Zaha gave it the step over and whatnot. I thought that he'd put us under the cosh a bit more, but I have to say he peaked out. I don't know if it's a case of being early games in the season and teams just lacking that kind of intensity at the moment. I think as you get into the season, I think certain players will pick up, because I noticed today after about the 70th minute, the tempo of the whole game just dropped, and it was very kind of... it just dropped the whole tempo of the game completely, and I don't know if it was just a few jaded legs out there. Probably a sign of just the early season and teams getting going, I guess.
Sam, I want to ask you about Cabaye. What do you reckon?
Long-term, great signing. Today, I think he was a little bit missing. Obviously, he's playing against one of the best teams in the league. Arsenal press the ball, they move it very quickly. He's better in possession of the ball, or when his team have got the ball. So I think you will see him play well for us. I just think today probably isn't the day to judge him. It's not fair. You know, I was critical of him initially, but on reflection, he had a tough job today. I think people underestimate Arsenal. To me, if you're playing against Arsenal and Arsenal's got the majority of the possession, you're going to struggle to make any kind of impression, especially if you're a ball-playing midfielder like Cabaye is. He's not. You're not going to see him to best effect flying into challenges, running around the pitch like a headless chicken, like doing a Coquelin type role where he's breaking up play, because he isn't that player. But he will come good. I think the warning signs were there for Palace. Last weekend I watched the whole of the Norwich game, and whilst we won 3-1, it flattered us. And defensively, I think Pardew's got a bit of work on his hands, because as great as Balassi and Zaha can be going forward, they leave our fullbacks so exposed. I actually thought Papasore had a really good game for us today, considering how much defending he had to do. But if you let Arsenal and teams like that run at you, at some point it's going to create a goal-scoring chance. You can't have that constant lack of discipline. And for what Zaha and Balassi bring, we lose in some defensive ability to double up on players and that kind of thing. Yeah. I still vow, if this game had been last game of the season and Palace needed a point to stay up, you'd have seen a different team. Pardew's just trying to tamper with it a little bit. We obviously saw Connor Wickham starting. He hit the post. Jury's out on him for me. 9 million's a big signing for us. That's a lot of money. And when you've got Glenn Murray, a fan's favourite, sat on the bench, who arguably is all right at that level, improving-ish, it's tough. So it'll be an interesting season for us. I'm looking forward to playing you guys again at the Emirates. Whether we get something or not, I'm not so sure, but we pick up more of our points away than we do at home, so who knows?
I think it seems to me like, because it's early days, Pardew is probably being a bit more just experimenting with the team. Not, I don't want to say experimenting like he doesn't know what he's doing, but I think he was being a bit more offensive because it's early days and he wants to get something out of the game.
And fans aren't going to jump down his throat. Like, you know, in the second game of the season against Arsenal at home, I'd have taken a point before kick-off. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we might get something from the game. He's not lost any face. We've not taken a battering. Morale, that's not going to get hit. And we've got a big squad. And, you know, we're probably going to be looking to lose players rather than gain. So he needs to get the football into these players sooner rather than later to see who he wants to keep.
You reckon he should have looked at the... I know it's not always good to judge on stats, but do you reckon he should have looked at the stats in the last Arsenal Crystal Palace matches after, like, it's like 6 games or something. Arsenal won like the last 6 fixtures or something like that. So do you reckon
we haven't beaten you at home since '94 or something like that in the league. We haven't played you that many times. But the stats that interest me, I like to have a little bet on the football, and I was looking, and both teams to score was a regular event in this kind of game as well. Clearly, it produces goals, and I think the one thing, as we become more attractive playing football going forward, teams like Arsenal should find it easier to play Crystal Palace. So I think that's something to watch out for. I think if we're going to try and out-football the best footballing team in the league, you're going to lose. That's my view on it.
Last question. Travis, what do you reckon about... obviously, everyone was a bit, not shocked, but it was quite a controversial topic, the whole Ox not starting. What do you reckon about his influence when he came on, and what do you reckon about Ramsey starting kind of over him? Because we know Sanchez is not worth dropping at all.
I think it's all about balance. Like, I like Arsenal when there are 2 wingers. Ox on one side, if it's Ox, and Sanchez on the other. I think one of Santi or Ramsey should have been dropped today. But we did get the 3 points, so I can't complain too much. We got the 3 points.
Dropped Santi though, come on.
I said one of is whatever you want to play. It's whatever you want to play, really. Like, I thought Cazorla was brilliant today, but one of them two, I think, need to be dropped out depending on who we're playing to accommodate Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think is.
Well, what do you reckon about the man of the match shout being Santi? Do you reckon that's fair?
I think Santi was really good today. Picked up the space as well, driving into spaces, kept the ball well, just kept us ticking over, really.
Do you reckon he performed better than Ozil today?
Yes, overall he did, because he kept us ticking, and he was quite prominent in the game. I think with Ozil, the problem with him is he goes in and out of a game too much. I think it's just part of his style of play. I know there's that famous stat that he does, I think, the most running off the ball, but when you watch it, it doesn't appear like that, but I don't know.
It seemed like he was prominent to me. I thought he was always a threat today, Ozil, but I think Santi did more at the other end of the pitch. He was getting back, and especially when Coquelin went off, Santi stepped up and took over his position along with Arteta, made it very hard for Palace to create anything.
From an opposing fan's point of view, I'd agree completely with that. I like Cazorla a lot, and I know Arsenal have got a midfield to be jealous of, put it that way, the options that Wenger's got. But I think he does work you don't see so much, and I think it benefits the team as a collective and allows players to make the moves and have the space. And sometimes Arsenal, from a neutral's point of view, don't have that attitude. They can roll their sleeves up and not win ugly, but win effectively. And I think maybe if you've got more of that kind of attitude, it's going to leave you in a better place to go on and win the title.
Nice. I think we've wrapped up pretty much everything then. What do you reckon, Travis?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice one. All right, sweet.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that, Sam. That was good.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Very...
Not a problem.